Terrorists capture a diplomat's son, and they would have gotten away with it if it hadn't been for those showgirls. This is Stinker Madness with Hell Squad.
Stinker Madness. Stinker Madness. Stinker Madness. We got the Stinker Madness.
Hello and welcome again to Stinker Madness. We have got a very special guest in a very special movie. Carl is with us. Carl has delivered us a gift of Hell Squad. Thanks, Carl.
You're welcome.
How are you, Carl?
I'm about as fine as one can be after having watched Hell Squad.
How many times have you seen Hell Squad?
Maybe 10 times
Jesus.
by now. I am always finding, it's always been like, in our particular group, it was the shitty movie I found first.
Right.
So I'm always running into people who haven't heard of this movie for good reason, because it's, you watch it and you realize, yeah, that's why nobody talks about this movie.
Right.
But yeah. And,
good work.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you found this. Where did you you said you rented it the first time you saw it. Was it like a VHS rental or?
Yeah, VHS rental. I was living in Pocatello at the time back in the 90s.
Uh-huh.
And I had a friend who was working at that video rental store, and he actually got really pissed at me because I was renting this. And that's because this rental store had this thing where after a year of nobody renting a movie, they would sell it. And because I rented this movie, it was going back on the shelves for another year.
You totally dicked him over.
So,
I was counting the days. He's got check marks on his calendar.
Yeah, he was just complaining, we got James Bond movies that nobody rents that's going into the to sell pile, and now I'm going to have this shitty movie up on the shelf. So, what could I do? But 1 year later, I went over to that store and rented it again.
That's awesome. Did it have cover art, or was it just one of those plastic holders?
Yeah, it had cover art, and the cover art is kind of it had the Hell Squad logo. I wish I brought my VHS tape so you could see what the classic Hell Squad tape looks like. Because what you see on the DVD is some really weird generic
right.
Looks
like kind of like a mid-90s lady action cover.
Yeah, that's just something they threw on that has nothing to do with the...
yeah, it's very misleading.
Yeah.
Was it the painted one?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
yeah.
so it's kind of beige around the corners, and then there's an inset painting of 4 of them.
No.
With the berets.
That's the
VHS cover?
That's the VHS cover.
Yeah, that's a VHS cover, yeah.
The DVD is just a lady in a cheetah bikini holding a gun.
That's not even in the movie.
That's not even in the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Very generic.
And just in case the listeners are wondering, me and Sam are here too.
Oh yeah. Sam and Jackie are here again.
The original movie poster had the tiger on it. It was black and white, and it had Don Glutt's name spelled with 2 T's instead of 1.
That seems indicative of this film. The level of professionalism involved.
Or maybe Don Glutt asked to not have his name used, they just added a T. Yeah. Or what communication happens after he gets stiffed on the screen.
No one will make the connection that it's Dan Glutt.
I'm glad that they showcased the tiger because, that was one of the better scenes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
one of my favorite ones.
We'll get to
tiger
scene. The production values in this film are quite poor.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, did you guys ever delve into any of those mid-80s booby comedies that weren't like the Porky's or the Revenge of the Nerds, but they were the B versions like Hots or Hollywood Hot Tubs or...
Yeah, or any of the... It was on USA Up All Night, they'd lead off with a couple that you'd heard of, and then the third one was one of these.
Yeah, probably like Hell Squad. It's got that very similar taste to it. It's not themed it's kind of the same plot idea as Megaforce, but action isn't the primary focus of this film. You are not. At
There's
any
a
point-
primary focus?
Well,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I think it's the comedy. I think the
Oh.
main
What comedy?
idea that they're trying to portray is that it's a funny film.
Is it?
I think so. There's jokes aplenty. Girls are telling jokes. There's boob jokes. The girl can't fit a gun to her chest because she's so chesty.
Yeah.
And
What's supposed to be on her shoulder? That's the thing I didn't like about so she's got boobs on her shoulder.
It's a very schizophrenic film for
Mhm,
sure because it's got just barely enough people shooting at each other that you think, okay, it's a failed action movie.
Uh-huh.
It's also got just barely enough jokes that are supposed to be funny that aren't funny that you're like, oh, it's a failed comedy. And it's got just enough nudity, but they didn't pay for a lot of it that you're kind of like, oh, it's kind of a cheapo, Skinamax type.
yeah, it's a failed booby movie.
It's a failed booby movie. So
I wouldn't even know if I'd call this a booby movie. It had a set of boobs in it.
There was
Yeah.
2 sets.
yeah, 2 sets.
most of the
One of them
women,
got used a lot.
they didn't want to pay the topless bonus. I can only assume that there were topless bonuses going
Probably.
on. And
But the actresses seem like they're strippers. Like, they're not real actresses.
When
Yeah.
I was on the IMDb for this, towards the bottom of the list for the big pile of extras for the training sequence,
Mhm.
there were names that just seemed like they were stripper names.
Bambi
Trixie.
and Trixie.
No, it was just it was
Roxy.
one name, basically.
What do you mean?
They didn't have a last name, and their
Oh,
first
oh,
name
right.
wasn't a person that it's human has.
So it's just like the movie.
Pretty much.
It's stranger than fiction. Or truth is stranger than...
Yeah.
It's just as strange as
It's-
fiction.
The fiction is in the lies are in the truth.
So their movie names aren't their actual names, are they?
No, I don't think so.
Alright.
did you find out anything about Bainbridge Scott?
Not really. I mean, the name sounds familiar. She's in 3 other movies. Man Killers is one of them.
Okay.
Did we just watch Man
We
Killers?
just watched Man Killers.
We didn't recognize her from being in the movie, and we just watched that, not very long
But
ago.
you don't know which one she is.
I thought she was the lead.
Jan?
Yeah.
Will you guys discuss?
Discuss.
And I will
And
see
we
what
just
I can
watched
find.
Man, because the last
Nope.
edition of this show was the Danton, Deadly Prey, and we watched his previous film, Man Killers, right before that, not for the show, just for amusement, and
Yeah.
it's like I couldn't place her as being the same actress.
No, Bainbridge Scott is Jen. Yeah.
Yeah, in this
she is.
movie.
She is.
But what is she in Man Killers? Is what we're
She's
curious.
an actress, or her character name is Christine Rollins, who is not any of the top billers.
Which was in 86 as well.
Yeah.
So she was in 2 Lady Commandos, which Man Killers is like the Dirty Dozen
Mhm.
of they get him out of prison. But other than that, it sort of moves along about the same. It's not as much fun. Like Man Killers was kind of boring. This is way better.
Oh, absolutely, much more entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't realize that she was the same person
Well,
from that movie.
She was in the movie, yeah.
Right.
The reason why I bring her up is because I feel like she's the only one who, I mean, she's not great by
Right.
any means,
Right.
but she's the only one who brings the closest thing you get to, like, somebody trying to sell the part, you know?
mhm.
Like, everybody else feels like they're either overacting, they're walking over everybody else's cues, they're forgetting their lines, they're just like, and the camera just keeps churning because they're just trying to, like, it's very much like a churned out movie.
Yes.
It's,
And I think she did a good enough job that she probably could have done
Other
more
things.
budget movies.
What she feels like to me, and I don't know, I'm just guessing, is that, you had Playboy and Penthouse, and then there was this just like sort of cavalcade of other Stag magazines.
Mhm.
One of them Stag,
Mhm.
Gallery, We, in the 70s and 80s, and she feels like one of the sort of mainstays of one of those, B-list porno magazines. Like,
Yeah.
she was the face of maybe Gallery magazine. Or something
Right.
like
Could
that.
be.
maybe.
She's got the 80s fake boobs too, with the tan lines. And those always throw me off. The bikini tan lines on the 80s fake boobs, just the LA woman
Mhm.
look. It always just throws me off, and it just looks weird to me. But she did all right. I didn't have a problem with her.
It's hard
I
to
could
tell
have had more.
by comparison. She's amazing, but
Yeah.
Right.
is she any good?
The others are so bad. This whole movie is really, really bad from a production standpoint.
At the first line that's delivered, I was like, Ed Wood was alive in 1986?
Yeah, absolutely. Should we just get into that? Because we're going to start. I think we have to start this episode with our questions segment, because I think the primary question is, what?
Yeah. Well,
what
my
is
other
the
ones
beginning?
would ruin where we're going.
What is the beginning of the film? Because it starts out with the
that doesn't make any sense.
One of the New Mexico nuclear test explosions that you've seen 1,000 times.
Yeah. Well,
and then the Geiger counter people looking around for remnants of horse or something. There was a horse that they tied up during the nuke test that got exploded, and what are those people doing?
And knocked him off of his hooves.
Oh.
So, where's the rest of him?
I don't know.
That's the thing. The neutron bomb makes, living things disappear and does no other damage to that.
He said it kills everything but doesn't singe a newspaper.
Fine and good. What does that have to do with anything?
I don't know. In fact, this thing sort of snowballs into the kidnapping so fast that I completely forgot about that part of the movie where it doesn't have, the father and the son have an argument about the ethics of the neutron bomb, but it doesn't really play a part in the plot of the movie whatsoever.
Well, that's what the terrorists want. The terrorists want some piece of the new. What they specifically ask for is the second phase rocket fuel or whatever for the. I don't know how they got the rest of it.
Yeah,
but
the actual deadly parts.
The important part.
That's all they really want, and their plan to get this is to kidnap some lowly diplomat's son from some lowly diplomat and pretend that the U.S. would give a fuck.
True. Quite.
So that's the beginning. That's the setup for the movie.
Okay. So I have another question. No, I'll save that question for the end. That's very helpful, because the whole time I was like, what's with the explosion intro? Because it seems like it's just a kidnapping plot. The whole plot of the movie is just a simple kidnapping and rescue movie, but apparently it's a little deeper than I was understanding.
So I'm familiar with Carl's process that he went through to figure out the plot to Megaforce, which involved wine. How many bottles of wine did you have to drink to figure this one out?
The thing about Megaforce, it's a very colorful movie. That's why it had to be wine. Hell Squad was a beer movie.
Oh, was it?
It was definitely a beer movie. I don't think I had to drink a lot though. Maybe I had to drink a lot to keep going. So
is this one of those things where you're one-eyeing it at the end? You're like, is that a cameraman in the shot?
Did I really just see what I saw, or was I just shit-faced?
Yeah.
I better watch this thing again. Back-to-back it. And then drink twice as much beer. And then the next day when you wake up and you're just hideously hungover, pop it back in. You're still fucking confused.
Yeah.
So so the next thing we get is the son is pissed off at the dad. And so he storms out of his office and gets in his limo with Tom Selleck driving it.
Yeah.
He's going to use his name, Justin, and his influence, and he's going to go to the States and do something. But he doesn't say what the hell he's going to do.
He's going to go, he's a dignitary's son, so he's going to go meet up with his best friend who's a senator. They're going to do cocaine, and they're going to fucking fix the world problems until they wake up next to a dead hooker.
Yeah.
You're like, oh shit.
Never mind what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, it's there's a real disconnect. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, why would the U.S. even
care at all?
Why would anybody care? When has a diplomat's son ever had celebrity? Notoriety.
Can anybody even name a diplomat at this point? I can't.
No.
Ted?
Angelina Jolie, she's a United Nations diplomat.
I don't want to bring her in.
Well, technically.
Jimmy Carter, if they need somebody he's not like a full-time, but if they need somebody, they send in Jimmy.
Yeah. But he's an ex-president.
Yeah.
You know him from that first.
Absolutely.
He's not just like some emissary, and we're like, who the hell's the emissary for whatever?
Karajan? Is that what he's the... Did they kidnap the diplomat's son for the country that they live in?
Yeah.
Karajan?
I would expect so, since I can't imagine these terrorists having enough money to fly you to another country because they're, you know...
They spent all their money on a tiger.
Yeah, they got a really small operation, it looks like.
Yeah.
They sent one car after
Yeah,
them.
oh boy. Boy, did they send a car. That's the very next thing you get is diplomats. So what do we know what this kid's name is? Is it Mark or something like that?
Are their last names Stewart? Jack.
No,
His
Mark
name
is
His name is Jack.
Yeah.
The diplomat's son is Jack.
Jack. Yeah.
Mark is the actual diplomat, and then I think Jim is his assistant.
Okay.
We'll get to Jim in a little bit.
Yeah.
Because he's the fucking asshole in the movie.
Well, Jack is in the limo driving back to the United States, apparently, and some Arabs give chase. They're just parked on the side of the road in an American station wagon, I might add.
Yeah.
4-door sedan. They give chase. It's a very high-speed chase. About
What chase were you watching?
Yeah.
Yeah.
6 to 10 miles per hour.
They started out at 35 when they were on the highway, but when they got onto the dirt, it slowed down considerably.
Yeah,
very-
an evasive move into the dirt.
That's how you
Get me
escape.
the hell out of here!
Okay, let's go slower.
Get off the highway onto a dirt path. It's like a goat path more than it is a old road of anything.
And this chase is actually a great warning for what the movie's going to be like. Because it takes something that other movies at least manage to inject a certain amount of excitement and whatever into, and slows it down and does it so incompetently that it becomes basically an action-in-action movie.
Yes.
You know, there's... You know, you wait for something to happen, and what does finally happen is completely underwhelming. They stop the car. The Tom Selleck looks like jumps out, gets shot.
He doesn't even take cover or anything. He just pulls out his gun, and all the guys have automatics.
He went the wrong way about it, too, because he pulls out his gun after he gets out of the car. Like, get out of the car with the gun ready, dickhead.
Or just stay in the car and shoot from the door.
Don't stop. Oh, they cut you off.
Yeah.
There's only one car, and you're in another car. Back
It
up.
seemed like he got jostled a little. Like the road was bumpy and he maybe bonked his head because he just kind of stops for no reason. So he gets shot.
That was the other thing. Yeah, like they get cut off by the green Dodge. He stopped before it actually cut them off.
Yeah, he was jostled. So the Jack kid comes out. He puts up a fight, an admirable effort. Punches some guys.
Lots of Foley sounds, is that what the word is? Foley when they...
Foley, yeah.
Where with punching sounds that aren't really accompanied with him punching anybody, but whatever.
Misaligned.
You know, knocks one terrorist down, the others shove him in the trunk, and movie's on its way.
But it does take all 4 of them to shove him in the trunk. So
and you know that the guy that got punched out is going to get the business at the card table.
Yes.
Like, why did we hire you? One thing, when you're kidnapping a guy, don't get punched out by him.
Indeed.
Probably just left his ass there.
I
I didn't see him get in the car.
Yeah.
You don't need him.
Yeah.
And the one guy
Screw
that brought
that
him
guy.
in felt bad about it. I went to bat for Pete, and he didn't deliver. But he's my friend, and I feel bad that we left him in the desert.
Yeah.
Well, he had the other car there. He probably just drove himself to a Burger King, ordered like 3 large meals, and sat there and ate and cried himself into an oblivion.
It was a limo. There was probably some champagne back there and some
Little bit of
smooth
Coke.
jams, and he just got fucked up and woke up out there the next day. And was like, I should drive this into town.
My life has changed for the better.
Yeah, or just started like driving that for a living.
Yeah, he's a new limo driver.
Yeah,
Just pops those American
You
flags
know,
off.
I hear there's a diplomat that's hiring a limo driver right
I
now.
know there is. Just grab the guy's Detroit cap.
Yeah.
Nobody's any the wiser.
Yeah, trim up your mustache a little and you're set.
You might as well, because the terrorists are clearly not Arabic at all.
No.
Their accents are very West Hollywood.
Oh,
And
boy.
the setting is clearly not in the Middle East.
No.
It's
in the
not-
Mojave Desert.
It's, yeah.
There's all this damn sagebrush everywhere. I'm like, pretty sure that's not how it is out there.
And it's in the muddiest part of this is like the muddiest desert nation ever, you know.
It rains once a year there. They were filming during that week.
Yeah, I just...
There's some shots I noticed that in the distance when they're training or on missions that had power lines in them, cars driving just down the road.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good set location.
Yeah.
Get the opening credits right here. Those
Yeah.
are pretty sweet.
Oh my
Yeah.
god,
And-
we're only at the opening credits?
Yeah.
And the music that we get to get.
The music through the whole movie, I really enjoyed.
Oh, yeah.
Me too.
It's almost like the A-Team or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cheesy and it's repetitive, but it's fun. And it was
Yeah.
actual music
And
rather
it-
than just like, you know, a drum machine.
Yeah.
So,
It's the poor man's Delta Force theme.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
poor man's, you know.
with a hint of Benny Hill in it. Just
Yeah.
a tiny bit of...
The movie could have used a lot more than a hint of that. I think. it felt like some scenes were trying for that level of comedy. For
There's
sure.
plenty of grab ass in it, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
The movie should have been called Grab Ass. So they take Jack to a torture dungeon that's like from the Middle Ages, you know, one of those, you just get hung up on the wall
Yeah.
by your hands and then you get to hang out there. That's you don't even get a room when you're not strapped to a chair, you just get to hang out on the wall, which I have heard will kill you. If you are one of those guys, that's why they did that, is it's not torture, it's a torturous death.
Ah.
It's not like where we keep the kidnapped ease. You put them against the wall and hang them by. It's like getting crucified. Your guts rip you slowly. Gravity rips you apart
Yeah.
slowly. It's
Or
very
you
painful.
dehydrate. I mean, you only got 2 days before you're going to dehydrate.
Yeah, but they throw some water on him.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think
And
that
some
helps.
dried beans.
Yeah, so-
Dried beans.
They were required to by the Geneva Convention. And terrorists
yes.
always obey the Geneva Convention.
Even though everything they've done up until that point is in violation of the Geneva Convention, today we have decided we found this thing in the desk. Apparently, we have not been playing by the rules. So we're going to
Somebody put this on my
start,
windshield.
and we're just going to treat every act before this like we were grandfathered in on it. But today, you're getting a nice cup of water.
Exactly.
There's also some guy there.
Yeah,
Strapped
a
to the
guy
wall.
in brown slacks.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
See
guy
another.
playing the part of the cadaver, basically.
Is he
Yeah.
another diplomat's son? Was he?
Yeah, who
Is
knows?
he Plan A and Jack is Plan B?
I don't know.
I like that theory. And
Yeah.
I think we should go with that because. But let's go to the real implausible plot. As implausible as what the terrorists are doing, which is basically kidnapping a son and demanding nuclear weapons for it, which seems kind of like a lucrative.
Bad trade.
Right.
Yeah, bad trade. It
Not
seems
gonna
like it seems like kind of like a far-fetched plan to begin with. Like they weren't thinking this through. As much as they weren't thinking this through, when you go to the diplomat and his assistant Jim, and what Jim comes up with to get the diplomat's son back is even stupider.
It's who is Jim and who hired him? Because his concept of getting shit done is epically not going to ever do
No.
anybody any good.
And I would like to, pose a theory that he was actually hired by Anne.
Ooh, or Andy.
Well, we don't want to we'll give it away yet, but
Mm,
I think that he was, because he's the assistant, but Anne has obviously been there for a while.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That maybe she was, he was an Anne selection, which, wasn't going to work out.
Could
later.
be.
Yeah, and I don't know any assistants that set up hits. Like, not a one. It's like they're there to get you coffee.
Yeah.
Make sure that you're on time. Get your limo driver's ass down there by the front door. They're not there to be like, I know some strippers.
Yeah.
Well, okay, maybe they do that part, but.
See, my theory
That's
is
his job. He knows some strippers,
Right,
and so
right.
he doesn't.
Get the
He's
strippers.
got to play it in his wheelhouse.
That's the only thing he's ever done is get the strippers. So that's his number one plan. I'm putting you in charge.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta get the strippers in.
Yeah.
Obviously, Mark and Jim are old college buddies.
I would
Mark
think.
goes on to like a life of semi-quasi success as a diplomat to some country we've never heard of. Jim probably couldn't hold down a job at Walmart, so Mark takes pity on his friend, hires him into his office, tries to make Jim his to-do guy, and so when this goes on, Jim claims, "I've got a plan to get your son back." He flies to Vegas. He hooks up with an ex-girlfriend who's not Jen, who's not pleased to see him because he's a dickhead.
Right.
And he says, "Introduce me to the girls who work for you. We're going to train him as
Do
commandos."
they work for her?
Yeah, I think,
Or are they just there?
I kind of get the impression because, like, if you listen to the conversation she's having with the bartender, like, something like, "Yeah, your girls are blah, 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 and they're really hitting those high kicks tonight."
And there is cut shots of the showgirls kind of doing something. They're at least in their showgirls attire.
She's at least the choreographer.
Yeah, maybe not necessarily their boss, but maybe like their manager or whatever. And, you know, and she at least has some type of like weird training before.
Does she? It doesn't really come up other than that she kicks the shit out of it. She passes the test.
She's wearing a headband.
Oh.
But everybody's wearing
a headband in the future.
Yeah, well, like, he's 6 for some reason, because again, remember, Jim's a dickhead.
Yes.
He, decides to see if she's still got it, whatever that means, and 6 his 2 goons on her. She, kicks their ass with, like, I'm going to call vague foo. I did not make up that term, by the way. I stole it from somebody else who reviewed this movie.
I wrote down Jan Fu.
I wrote down Jan Fu as well.
And, and he goes like, "Oh, you obviously still have it. Let's train your other girls to be the same level of commando, whatever that you are."
Which is a level that lands you a job training girls to dance in Vegas.
Yeah. Yeah. And, then obviously he's going to train them, then send them to go rescue the son, which is, as unfeasible as the terrorist plot was, this is worse. Because first, it's going to take a long time to train anybody to be a commando.
Right, years.
Yeah, and
they've got weeks, 10 days.
They say they're going to do it in 10 days. They use the, and I hope I'm not shooting past plot points you guys want to talk about, but they use the shittiest obstacle course in history. I made sure that I watched this with a friend who just got out of the military because I wanted to piss him off, like with the scene.
Right. So is this what it was like?
Yeah. So is this
like boot camp?
Was this what you had to do? Is that obstacle course with the tires and the one wall? Was that it?
Is this
Can I go out and be a commando now?
Well, I want to talk about their pay.
Yeah.
Because first off, he doesn't even tell them the plan. Or I'm not even sure that there is a plan at this point.
Yeah,
I think he's still on
like
phase 1. Get strippers.
Yeah, he kind of seems like that creepy dude that's like, "Hey, I've got some candy in my van. If you get in the van, I'll give you some candy."
Yeah, he's totally taking advantage of his friend Mark. He's living out his fantasy of surrounding himself with showgirl commandos.
Right.
He doesn't really give a shit about Jack. Really.
No.
Would you?
No, he's like, I finally, this is my one chance. I'm gonna go to Vegas, hire a bunch of strippers, showgirls, make them into commandos, and then live the high life.
Yeah. You also... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
You get the impression that Jack's life, because when they narrow it down, and I won't go exactly, but about $200,000 is what Jack is worth.
A year? Or
no,
together?
This, like,
completely.
The terrorists want to trade him for the greatest weapon on Earth. And his father wants to spend around $200,000 to get him back.
Well, the girls each get paid $25,000 if they come back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Each. And then $500 a week for their training.
Yeah.
Which is only 10 days, so they only each get the $500.
It's under $250.
Well, how many?
The whole thing.
Yeah, I think under 250. Well, no, because there's 9 girls that come back.
$225.
It's $225 plus $500 a week for all of them.
Well, $750 for 10 days. Let's say they round up.
Well,
It's less than $1 million bucks. I think it's less than 500,000.
No, it's less than $250,000.
500 times 30.
1985 money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not a
Dollar
whole
went
lot of
further
money.
back then.
It's not a whole lot of
And
money.
they're not in wherever they are, because they're going out every day, and they do it about 5 times.
I think Vegas
It's
showgirls
2
make more
weeks.
than $500 a week
Oh, I think they did.
in 1986.
I think they did.
Yeah.
I think that's why you go there.
I don't think it's good pay.
Especially if you had a beef slip with those really tiny underwears, and you do a little high kick, beef slides out, put your leg back down,
I don't think you get a bonus for that, Jackie.
No.
put some Vaseline down there so your underwear slides around real nice.
Everybody else is using glue to keep their stuff in part. You're oiling yourself so that your costume comes off.
And everybody wonders, why do you have so much money?
You're not even doing the dance. You're just flailing around and the shit falls out. All of the cash!
Ka-ching, 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 ka-ching. Yeah, no. I don't
We
think
thought
that's
the
work
slot
right.
machine's paid in Vegas.
Oh, that slot machine pays. Yeah, so now we're at the training. They take him to the middle of the desert.
Yeah.
That has a pipe, a corrugated tube that's like about 3 feet long.
And rusty.
And rusty, sharp edges. There's the tires. Of course, you can't have a military training camp without
Tires.
without the tires that you have to step in. There's a puddle that's about,
Looks like it's 2.5 by 2.5.
yeah, I think that's fair. They gotta jump over. There's a 6-foot wall that they gotta climb.
And that's it.
I don't even know if it's 6 foot, because who knows the height of any of these women? They can
No.
all be 5'3", and
Yeah.
so it's a 5'10" wall.
And it's
not
got like a
high.
step in the front of it, too.
It does. And a
And a
blanket.
carpet. Yeah.
And a carpet that makes it easier to
Nice,
get over.
so they don't get any splinters in
Yeah.
their crotchal region.
Mm-hmm.
They have, in theory, they have to punch through a piece of wood. Jan does.
One person does.
Yeah, you only see Jen do it, but Jen has already demonstrated a certain amount of like
Bad
non-existent martial arts.
Right.
But I mean, so are they really learning how to do that? And then the first time you actually see them, they have one scene where they teach them how to shoot their guns at the targets, and that's it. Done.
That's it.
Done.
Yeah.
Training
Done.
over.
Training over. Their first day on the shooting range, done. Commandos.
We've made our selections.
Everybody into the pool. We'll be announcing selections here
Then there's
shortly.
also a swimsuit competition, apparently.
I think that was part of it.
Yeah, because that's,
But
they don't make
no,
it the
the
decision.
big cans failed. She didn't make the team.
Well,
Cans
you
fail.
got it. The cans can fail depending on what the
you
rest
get
of
a
it's like.
score for the
Yeah.
swimsuit competition. You get a score for rifle shooting.
Yeah, you get a
she
score.
obviously failed the rifle, which brought her
Brought her
score on
score
the
down.
bikinis down. Too much.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's too bad.
Yeah, you should mention who you're talking about. Like, there was one who was obviously there for comedy relief because
Very heavy.
because she
up
was
top.
very top heavy.
Yes.
And there's the training guys too. There's a colonel,
Uh-huh.
and he doesn't do anything. And then there's a guy that trains him, and he looks at people's boobs through the binoculars, and I called them the knocker binoculars.
Binoculars.
Knockerlers.
Yeah. Isn't the guy that trains them Jim, though?
No, he's just
No.
hanging out. There's another guy that has a straight hat thing, and he's the drill sergeant.
So Jim calls the military and says, we need to borrow your training facility and some trainers and a general corporal guy.
So I think he's a
Because
colonel in
this
the
is
national.
our plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, these guys look like they're National Guard
Yeah.
because they don't.
Or weekenders.
Yeah, they're not doing anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's only 2 of them.
Right.
There's
Yeah.
a colonel, and then there's
At
a
the
drill
shittiest
sergeant.
training course ever.
And
Yeah.
so it's probably not even a real training course. Probably what Jim did because he's a dickhead.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He called up 2 friends he knew in the reserves, except for I'm not convinced the general guy or whatever he was supposed to be really ever was in the military. He looks like a Benny Hill stand-in
Yes.
Yeah.
that they put a cap on and gave him binoculars. And he says, hey, this is going to be awesome. We're going to be training showgirls to be commandos. Let's go through the paces, find some abandoned, shitty obstacle course in the desert, and we'll do it there. And, that's what they do. And after, I mean, I can only assume that, Jim was expecting them all to get killed on the first mission. Because,
Jim has had experience with trunks full of dead strippers.
yeah.
Yeah. He's been there before. He knows what to do in that scenario.
Yeah, that was what his job was.
They are truly expendable.
Disposing of the dead strippers that Mark and Jack ran through. All the time.
Yeah.
This is actually the 6th Hell Squad. So they have a pool party.
Yeah. Did you notice that there was the shots, and it happened a couple of times during that, I really felt like they shot this movie sequentially.
Oh, yeah. Linear.
Because there's a where, things, the film stock looks similar in different sections of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Things really fall apart in the production towards the end of it.
Uh-huh.
And during that sequence in the desert, I felt like that was where they're like, oh, we've got the most happening here. We need another camera. They didn't have the budget for it. There's a couple of really orange shots that are blurry that I just instantly identified with being 8mm color negative.
I'm with you because to jump ahead, not get to this part, but to just introduce the hot tub a little bit, just slightly. Some of the shots of the hot tub, they were sitting in different positions.
Mm-hmm.
They had different hair on. Sometimes Jan was wearing a towel, sometimes Jan was not. Normally, when you budget those shit, you just shoot, it's in one spot, you're doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Just shoot it. Now you've got 3 scenes right there. I think you might be right.
I think that they had to go back and pick those up with an 8mm, and they were using 8mm negative, and it's blurry and orange because of it.
Yeah. I think you might be right about that, which is a very good observation, Sam. But they have the pool party. And the girls, we kind of get some personality to the girls because they're ribbing each other and talking about boys and hairstyles and look at my boobs.
What are you going to do with all this money?
Yeah.
Pay rent.
Yeah.
Because that's how much it is.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the lucky ones who won't get selected at all because I'm exhausted after that commando training. Which, for being trained to be commandos, none of them ever demonstrate any type of fortitude or stamina or anything the rest of the
Or
movie
seem
ever.
to be stressed out physically, emotionally, or mentally.
Right.
Boy, it's a good thing we're all cut out for commando training.
Nor do they ever prove that they're commandos by demonstrating their skills.
No.
The montage really never ends.
Yeah.
And you know how you know, though, that they made it through? The higher their shorts got during commando training, the better commandos they were.
Yeah.
Pull them up higher, ladies. We're getting ready to jump this time.
Well, out of 30 girls, only 9 make it into the selection. And
really,
unfortunately, we don't have all of the 9's names because they only name 8. Which is strange.
Jan doesn't get selected. She's already there.
They actually say Jen, of course, is selected.
Oh,
yep.
At the beginning.
Jan, Billy, Beth, Anne, Tina, Megan, Christy, and Karen. 8.
It's Megan.
Megan?
Yeah, her name was
What
Megan.
kind of name is Megan?
I actually knew a girl named Megan. Yeah.
Was she a vegan?
No.
She was a real meat
I'm
eater.
not going to talk about her.
Sausage eater? Alright. So we've got 8 gals with names. One that does not have a name that makes the squad.
She's the red shirt, like in Star Trek. She's gonna get shot first.
Yeah. None of them do. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler.
31 minutes into the movie, they're told the plot of why they're there. Like, what they're actually getting trained for.
At the car museum.
At the car museum.
And it looks like they're at the Peterson's Museum.
It's not the Peterson Museum, but it's got to be another L.A.
car
classic car
My
museum.
theory, because the scene is just so dumb. It's so dumb. I mean, it's going to be dumb no matter where they have the setting, but you have to wonder why they did it.
Car museum.
A car museum. And my theory is maybe that's where some of the money for this turd of a movie came from. Is like somebody who was running this
sponsor.
Going like, yeah, I'll give you some money. Make sure you shoot something in my museum to kind of like commercialize it. And then probably after they saw the movie, they felt ripped off.
Or they were, take my name off your movie. You can keep the scene.
So, is the car museum part of the movie? Like, I think that's a solid theory, but as far as the movie itself, the plot of the movie, does it take place anywhere? Is it, say, at the bottom of the hotel where they're staying?
That was what they said on
Is it at the
phone.
military training facility?
Because they were already at the hotel. They're like she seems like they're in Vegas still.
Yeah.
And so he's like, look, go down to the car, meet me at the car auction. We can't talk at the car auction. It doesn't start till 10.
It's a car auction?
That's what it was supposed to be.
That is selling cars from the teens.
That's selling a car museum.
Yeah.
Yep.
A 1903 Ford
Yeah.
Model T. Yeah, I don't know about this one.
No.
Yeah. So, anyways, they're told the plot. Get wished good luck. They gotta go into Karajan, and their equipment will meet them there. They've gotta just fly there, like a normal air flight, and, go to the hotel. They'll get a phone call and be told where their supplies are, and then, instructions on what to do at that point.
And he also told them at that point that they should just pick up any guns they find while they're there.
Right, of course.
Because, we can sell those or whatever. Like, just grab anything that looks like it's worth something while you're down there. And then the one gal's like, well, that's a hell of a lot to expect out of a bunch of showgirls. Yes.
Indeed.
Because the mission wasn't... Okay, anyway.
We laid out.
To
yeah.
invade a country and kill all of the inhabitants and then rescue one white guy.
One white guy,
That
yeah.
wasn't enough?
No, and then Jan says, well, wait, we didn't think we were gonna become cat counselors.
What's a cat counselor?
Camp counselors.
Okay.
Oh.
But
Did
you
you
can
say
tell
cat
that
counselors
Yeah.
like meow?
Either way.
Either way, I don't get it.
Fluffy, how are you feeling today?
Yeah, they have that now.
Oh my
They do have that.
They do
actually.
have that.
But
They
you
had
can-
that in LA the whole time.
It's like kitty therapy.
Yeah.
That is such bullshit.
Feline shrinks. I think you can get your degree in it, actually.
Yeah,
I
pet psychology
picked
is a
the
degree that you
wrong-
can get on the internet.
I picked the wrong doctorate.
I think you might
No,
have.
yeah.
I should have been a pet therapist.
Especially because I bet the doctorate in pet therapy you can get on the internet only takes like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
All that
It's
money.
not too late. 2 weeks.
But then,
2 weeks!
But then you would be called into all of the court cases that you need a pet psychiatrist for, and you would be the expert witness.
Mhm.
You would be always in court. You would never be working because you'd have
You
all
get paid
these...
for that shit.
Do we have for being an expert witness?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta pay like your fee, which is a lot.
Then we're all in the wrong business. We should all just be expert witnesses.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Just an expert of anything. I am an expert of something. Well, then we need an expert.
Please tell us about where you were, Mr. Ed.
I'm a health squad counselor.
Yeah,
Health
health
squad
squad counselor. Well, there needs to be a court case. There needs to be an inquisition by the UN after this bullshit. Somebody's testifying.
Yeah.
I think
Because
the
what
Geneva
happens
Convention
is
has
not
been broken
right.
several
No.
times by everybody in this movie.
I do want to point out, just maybe before we move on to the next scene, though, that Jen is obviously pretty annoyed at Jim at this point.
Right.
Mm.
You know, I think there was like, I think I've said this a couple times while we're watching the movie, where I mentioned how every time I watch this movie, I hope this is the moment where Jen beats the shit out of Jim,
Mhm,
and it never happens, you know. But that's where it probably looks like it gets closest. you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Especially when he says, like, yeah, you only got 4 days before the plane just strands you in this country. You know? Pick up whatever weapons you can find. Try to rescue the one white guy in this country.
Kill everybody.
Kill everybody. Get your own weapons.
Also, you will have no instructions. We don't even know if we're going to call you, or
Yeah.
you just wait for the phone to ring.
Yeah.
Wait for the phone to ring.
Yeah, and it does.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Jim should have got decked a couple times. Well, they fly SAS Airlines. Just catch that.
I didn't catch
I don't know
that.
if that was intentional.
It
SAS.
was a stock shot.
Yeah, it was a stock shot, but chose SAS. They get to a sweet hotel room that
Yeah.
is nicer than they've ever imagined, even though they live in fucking Vegas as showgirls.
And it looks just like a Vegas hotel room.
and there's not enough beds for all of them, so how great of a hotel room can it be? It doesn't
Mhm.
matter how nice looking the chairs are. If you only have 5 beds for, like, 9 people.
9 girls.
So,
And a bunch of equipment, military equipment eventually.
Did you notice the chairs? There's 3 sort of nice armchairs set up. I think there was a small table, but they're all just facing a mirror, and they're all like 4 feet away
A
from it.
vanity.
Like, why would you sit there and look at yourself?
You might
That's
be putting on
really-
your makeup for the mission.
Showgirls,
Sam.
It's
Sam!
the front. That's for the bathroom. You can't hang out in the living room like, let's have a conversation where we all stare at ourselves.
They're showgirls! That's all they do is look at themselves!
Alright, well, it's the
It's
room
like-
for them.
Don't forget that this was 1986 and we hadn't invented the selfie yet.
Mm.
There's only one way you can stare at yourself. It's in a mirror.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So, they're looking around the room,
Yep.
checking shit out. They're all happy with it. But there's a problem, and it's not just the beds. There's only one bathtub. But it's a big bathtub.
Sure is.
There's a water shortage,
There's
though.
Water
Yeah.
shortage. They're
Yeah.
very ecologically minded.
Yeah.
Very careful about the water shortage in Karajan.
Lots of oil in this country, but not enough water.
Uh-huh.
No.
Yep.
So, well, like any ecological person would do, they take their baths together.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
At the same time.
Yep.
And all of the time.
And lots of bubbles.
So you gotta go, because there's a fairness level there. Either you're rotating, and then somebody gets with the icky part of the tub. Like, if you all just use the same water different times, then whoever goes last is just bathing in a bunch of other people's filth.
Yes.
So you should all have to be in everyone's filth
everybody's
at
filth.
once.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
that way, everybody in the group has the crabs by the end of this trip.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they're from Vegas. They've all already got the crabs.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
They're now sharing ickier things than
Yeah.
the crabs.
There is a level of must that precedes them. Like, what's that coming in? Oh, run! It's Hell Squad!
It's not the dust cloud that they leave
Yeah.
behind them. It's the stench cloud in front of them. That's awful.
a delicate blend of 9 different crotches.
They're just trying to come in downwind. They're like, oh shit.
Oda de Hell Squad. The latest perfume from Elizabeth Taylor. So they get a phone call.
Yeah.
It's now action time.
Yeah.
They've been instructed to invade a place.
Yeah.
Place.
Yeah.
Which I don't even, this part, like, I couldn't figure out until after we're, like, on the third leg of this bullshit.
Mm-hmm. That they get phone calls and they have to invade places.
That
or
was
just
gonna happen
invasion?
more than once. And then the second time I was like, okay, wait a second. And then by the fourth time I was like, what the fuck is going
Well,
on
you
here?
totally expect them to like, their mission is to, when you get over there, you will have a phone call with further instructions on where to find
Yeah.
Jack and how to rescue him. We'll send you all the materials that you need at this location. You go and pick them up, and then you invade and rescue Jack, and then you come home.
Yeah.
No!
Mm.
That is not their mission.
Mm-mm.
Their mission is to go into a place that's got guys playing poker and blow them the fuck away.
Yeah. Crotch kicks, stabs,
Yeah.
kill them all.
Chokins.
Yep.
Neck snappings.
Yeah.
That was
That's
freaking awesome.
Terrible.
Come back afterwards and take a bath.
And have a bath. Go
And I'm-
back to the room.
Like, is that a warm-up round?
And as many times, and telling you that this takes place in an innumerable amount of times, nobody can imagine how repetitive it feels like. Just like, imagine going like, oh, well, that's gotta happen 2 or 3 times, I guess.
Well,
Nope, like, add on a few more.
They
And,
don't
like,
even
it's like-
question it. Because at no point do they come back to the hotel and they're like, oh man, bad intel because Jack wasn't there. That sucks. We totally looked everywhere for him and he wasn't there. He's got to be someplace else. We'll just have to find where that next place is. Nope,
Yeah.
they're just like, okay, everybody in the tub, good
Yep.
job today.
Yeah.
Tee-hee.
Yeah, they don't even look for Jack. They just shoot everybody and they're like, well, I guess he's not here.
And then cut
They
to
just-
them driving away.
Yeah, never ask any questions.
No,
like,
everybody's dead.
that's one of those, it's the first day. So you go back and they're all in the tub and one person's like, do you think we should have kept one of them alive? And then everybody's like, oh shit.
Let us never forget these girls' previous profession.
Yeah.
Showgirls.
Yeah.
They're not prepared for this.
They only spent 9 days training on Commander.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said,
Interrogation they didn't have time
No.
for interrogation training.
Jim is a dickhead.
Jim is a dickhead.
I put all of the blame on this sloppy run operation, not on the showgirls themselves,
No.
but on Jim.
Absolutely.
Fuck that guy.
We gotta at least mention their matching outfits.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that they're wearing berets with a patch that is the Black Cat Fireworks logo.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yep.
Not
Short,
modified.
pulled up high.
Just put right on there.
Hot pants.
Why aren't they called the Black Cat Squad then?
Yeah.
They may have been originally called that, and Black Cat said, you can keep the footage, we're not associated with this film whatsoever.
Yeah,
just
could
like
be.
the museum people did.
It should have been like a burning demon with a pitchfork for the whole squad.
Mhm.
You know, like,
Or that's how they escape, is they just toss a roll of Black Cats, and everybody's like, oh, it's loud! And they run out the door.
They're like Batman.
Yeah.
No, I'm over here. Well, they pull up to the hotel in their commando jeeps that have machine guns on top of them,
That's right.
dressed in their battle gear with their battle rifles,
Mm.
and they just they're like, well, we can't go into the hotel to get to the room, so we'll just take the servants' entrance.
Mm.
No one will ever know that we aren't
Yeah.
showgirls by night and commandos by day.
It's somebody else in the motel, not us.
These are not our jeeps.
Yeah.
These are not the jeeps you are looking for.
Yeah.
No.
Well, it's back to the tub.
Back to the
Clean up.
tub.
Back to the tub, and we should point out that every time they're in the tub, that's when the phone rings,
Mhm.
and somebody
Jan.
Jan, that's who they paid the most money, probably.
Nobody else knows how the phone works.
You know, Jen is the one who always stands up and answers it, and usually she always forgets how a towel works, because, I mean...
We have already seen her
Yeah.
boobs.
The first time, she gets out and walks all the way across the room, and when she gets to the phone, she puts a towel. Like, at that point, you just dripped water fucking everywhere. What's the point of the
Yeah,
towel?
all of these girls have already seen
Plus-
you naked. You're not hiding anything.
Yeah, the second time, she's about to, or actually, when the comedy comes to fruition, she's already got the towel wrapped around her waist, and she's gonna get in the tub wearing it. It was like, okay, do you know how towels work?
I mean, if she was going to be modest, then she would have it, with a towel, then she was going to have it, one towel wrapped around, starting up here, at the,
At the
She would have had a
level.
boob
at the
towel.
boobie level.
Right.
Well, I think maybe that was the budget towel.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
we
she
paid
had like
for
a hand towel.
we
that went
paid
around
for
her waist.
upstairs, but we didn't pay for downstairs. Nor will the movie show in any theater in 1986 if it's got a bunch of
Yeah.
crotch running around in it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the phone rings. She gets new instructions.
Mm.
The person on the other end is sometimes understandable, but it's mostly like the teacher in Peanuts. You can't understand shit. But they get instructions to go to a camp, a new place to shoot up. It's got tanks and tents.
A new place to shoot up and not look for the diplomat sign.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yes, which they do. They shoot it up
And not look for the diplomat
and not
sign.
look for the
And not look
diplomat's
for the
son.
diplomat's son.
They have to take out a tank. They have to
They
get
use
in
the tank. They just it's a vehicle of opportunity.
but they have to look out! Watch out! You're gonna crash! And it's a porta-john that they're gonna crash into.
It is kind of disappointing that they don't actually flatten the porta
Why wouldn't they?
no,
Yeah.
because it costs too much money,
A porta-john?
dude. It costs too much money.
I
Nothing gets really
$50.
blown up in this movie.
Yeah.
They don't destroy anything.
They fire some shells out of the tank, though.
Kind of. I was really curious because that was so weird. It looked like it was almost matted in. It was so weird looking.
Yeah, that could be. Well, he's not there.
No.
So what do?
You-
Tub.
Back to the tub.
Back to the tub. This gets so repetitive that at some point the people who make the movie decided, we don't really need to show them shooting up another, location. We'll just show them driving off. Next scene, cut to the tub.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's-
drive
yeah,
off,
I
drive
was-
around.
Now that we've watched it, I really feel like they did shoot people. It was just they didn't have time to show it. Because when you're watching it, you're like, they didn't find anything and they're just headed back. No, there's really no reason to show anything. It's
Right.
the same story.
They have all you need to know is that they have done a mission.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
finally, during this, flood of shooting people and baths and the phone joke within the tub, Jan answers it and was like, we've been killing all these people and none of them seem to be terrorists.
Yeah, it's the best
Like
line in
they've
the
realized something.
Yes.
Yeah, it's actually the best line in the movie, and I actually give this movie credit for predicting our entire foreign policy. During the 2000s.
Too soon.
Oh.
Well, they get invaded after running all these missions and slowly getting dejected. They're not even wasting time with the hot tub anymore. They get invaded by terrorists.
Yeah.
While they're sleeping.
No, are these guys terrorists, or are these actually maybe police who are going who's shooting up our
Ooh.
entire country?
Yeah,
That's
because
a
it
good
was
question.
the guy that the sheik is right. He's the whatever of the country.
Yeah.
He's the king.
He's in
president.
charge.
He's the guy.
Yeah, that could be. He's the military police.
But he looks like an Oompa Loompa.
Yeah,
Straight out of Charlie's in the Chocolate Factory.
yeah.
An Oompa Loompa straight out of Charlie's and the Chocolates Factory.
Yeah, that's good work. Good
I have
language.
not seen that. I'm unfamiliar with what you're speaking of.
It's played by Marvin Miller, I guess, and he's given the "and as" credit.
Yes.
You know, Marvin Miller
As
as
the
the
Sheik.
Sheik.
As the Sheik.
As far as I can figure out, the only thing he's done before is he was the voice of Robbie the Robot in The Forbidden Planet, I think.
Ooh, I like the Forbidden Planet.
So I think that's what I read. I can't quite remember.
Yeah, that's
So-
a terrible movie. He is an Oompa Loompa with the voice of a frog. And they chain them up to a wall. All of them. Sort of.
Yeah.
Mostly them just hanging onto the chains.
Which is kind of a theme that runs throughout the movie.
Mhm.
Nobody ever gets chained. Maybe that's deep. Maybe the movie's trying to tell you that you're only chained to the wall in your own mind. You just need to...
Oh. I don't think so. So he wants to know what's up. He figures that they're the ones that are shooting up his country.
Because
And
it's obvious.
obvious. A bunch of white women,
Yeah.
the 9 white women particularly,
Yeah.
that arrived at the same time these ones did,
Yeah.
blowing the whole country up. So he wants information. And so in order to get the information, he brings in a tiger. Then to threaten them maniacally that he's going to unleash this tiger upon them and have it eat them if
Yeah.
they
It
don't
only
spill the
eats
beans.
on Tuesdays.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But none of the girls know what day it is.
No.
Because once again,
They have an
they're
argument.
showgirls.
They don't, like, it's Sunday, and then the response is, no, it's Wednesday. So that's not that they don't know what day it is. They're fucking clueless
I am
as to what day
surprised
it is.
they even have a concept of what days are.
Yeah.
Well, you know, as repetitive as those earlier scenes were, I would lose track of the day too. You know, driving out somewhere, killing a bunch of innocent.
What day is it? February?
You know,
Yeah.
It's like when you're on vacation and you're not going to work. You know, you spend like 2 weeks on vacation and you begin to lose track of whether it's Wednesday or Thursday. That's what this whole thing is to them.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
That's my life every day, actually. Well, it's a good thing he brings in the tiger, because the whole movie happens because of this damn tiger, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
The tiger's on Hell Squad's side.
Yes, it is. He steps on the tiger's tail by tapping
Sheik
his
does.
foot. The
Yeah.
Sheik.
He's just getting mad and he's stomping.
He's stomping, and the tiger's waving his tail back and forth, and he misses like 4 times, but on the 5th time, gets that tiger tail, and the tiger eats the Sheik.
That's when I realized that Hartford/Hertz was now behind the wheel of the screenplay.
Mm-hmm.
Because it started to enter into this cartoon element that we will get to later.
Yes, indeed.
It
Yeah.
enters into a cartoon element, and you're like, what the fuck? Oh my god, this is ridiculous.
Well, don't forget who penned the original script as well as a major cartoon
I
guy.
know, but he had obviously he sort of knew his audience with the front end
True.
of this thing.
True. Well, they get info. Because of the Sheik is getting mauled, he spills the beans on where Jack might be.
So obviously, apparently the terrorists are kind of working underneath with tacit approval of the state.
Yes.
Apparently.
Yeah, maybe they are terrorists. So, the Sheik's dead,
Yeah.
I guess. And they're out in the middle of the desert. They have to get back somehow, so they're walking along, and it's hot, and they got 6 hours to live. And there's a guy on a camel, and he shows up, and he gives them some water, and they think it's pee-pee, but it's not. And so they're good, but then some other
Guy
guy
in a truck shows up.
just shows up in a flatbed driving through the desert.
He speaks English.
Sort of.
He does. Well,
Sometimes.
he doesn't. Then they say a bunch of shit, and he's like, "Oh my god, you're a beautiful woman. I'll make a lot of money on you."
Yes.
Then they pile in the truck, and then they go back into the hotel, and they get. So he doesn't.
He does not-
He's like, you know what?
Well,
On
you
second
know,
thought,
they're-
I'll bring you to the hotel.
Well, they're commandos. Once they got into the flat, they were able to,
Work
exert
their magic.
They knew what was up, and they just said, "We're commandos." And he's like, "Oh shit, no money."
Yeah. And then he drops them off at the hotel, and they have a nice bath.
I will take you back to where you go. Can I come inside by chance? Again, the phone rings, and Jan is pissed, and she says, "Listen, we think we know where he's at." And the guy says one word: "Swim." So we know what's coming. They gotta get in the tub.
It's an amphibious mission,
Yeah.
finally.
Sort of.
Oh, it is.
They drive. So their plan now is to just drive around until they find
some fucking
water
water
to swim in, and then wherever there's water that they can swim in is where Jack is going to be.
And
Yeah.
apparently they drive all the way to Europe.
the castle is fucking European.
Yeah, it's a European
It's
castle.
a Scottish castle.
It's boy.
It's Camelot.
It's a postcard that somebody's grandma sent them.
It is a postcard shot. It's not a painting. It is a
Postcard.
picture of a Scottish castle that is just in frame. Terrible. That's on the edge of the lake.
That's
That is-
on the edge of a lake.
Yes. Oh boy.
Because in order to get to said castle, they put on their amphibious gear, their flippers.
Which is their swim gear, just their regular old
it was the
swimsuits.
same shit they were wearing at the swimsuit competition.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And they, with flippers and harpoons and snorkels, and then they swim 38 feet across the edge of the pond, and then they
could
get
have
out.
driven around.
And this is a point, like, this is where the production is really starting to fall apart. This is where things are going awry. The cameraman doesn't just tilt it down a little bit to where you can't see the edge of the lake behind them.
To not know how big the lake actually is.
They did not need to swim
you can
anywhere.
see the entire pond. Let's
You
stop
could
calling
drive
it
it
a
around.
lake. It
It's
is
a
not
pond.
a lake. It's a pond.
And you can see the other edge of it, and it's 38 feet away from where the camera's sitting, and they
Uh-huh.
just swim across it.
Terrible.
So,
Poorly.
if it was just me, I can't really remember this. But wasn't their hair done in the next scene when they went in to save Jack? Like, everybody
Yeah.
had their hair
Oh,
done.
yeah.
And they
it
were
was
complaining
blow-dried.
about their hair.
And their hair was, like, dry.
Like the tunnel
and
is dry
yeah.
and nasty
Okay.
that they're going into the castle and it's ruining their hair. What about the fucking lake?
Yeah.
Pond.
Yeah, okay, that I thought so, but I just, I checked.
Well, there's not a whole lot of guys in this castle.
Well, they've already killed half of them.
Have they?
I think that's the thing.
They go through a tunnel,
yeah.
sneak through a tunnel, and then they shoot two guys in the back with a harpoon, and that's the room that Jake's in.
Yeah.
When did they kill all these guys?
It's,
They got
you
time
know, they've been
constraints.
just going through the entire movie, just killing everybody in this nation. By the time they get to the climax,
These are the last two guys.
there's not that very many left.
Yeah, that's the end of it. They've
Either that or it's a national holiday, everybody else is at the fair across the lake.
I like that
They live
everybody's
with
already
skeleton
dead.
crew.
There's a Renaissance fair across. Well, they get Jake. They bust in and grab him out of there. The guy that's at the beginning of the movie that's chained up to the wall, he's still there.
Yeah.
But he's not doing so hot.
Yeah.
I would have liked it if they hadn't even checked on him. Just grabbed Jake and left. And the guy's like, but...
Oh, they check on him at first because they actually say this. They go, "Well, I hope the diplomat's son isn't this one. He's dead."
Oh, they
So-
don't know what Jake looks like. That's a good point.
Why couldn't they
Picture.
couldn't they have gotten photographs? Going like check
Yeah.
the photo. Go, oh,
This is the guy.
This is the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess
Did
that's
that more
true.
evidence to Jim being a dickhead?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Jim,
Bad intel.
just a dickhead to everybody, to the showgirls,
Even himself.
to his friend Mark, to to Jack. Hey, yeah.
Well, it's time to go back to the lake. So they head back to the pond.
They swim across it again.
Well, they do something before that.
Oh, that's right. I thought that they were going to burn their tracks,
Uh-huh.
but apparently they had 38,000 cans of gasoline.
They only show one. It's a 5-gallon can of gas that they swam across the lake with the
I think
first
that
time?
they got that there. They didn't bring it with them.
Commandeered from the That's what they do. They commandeer everything.
Well,
This
Yeah.
is not really a castle as much as it's like the gas depot or something.
it
like
might as well be the gas depot, because all they do is string a 10-feet stream of gasoline on the ground and then light it with a match, and the entire fucking castle explodes.
Yes.
Worse than the castle in Beowulf explodes.
It's ridiculous.
It's the biggest fireball ever. And mind you, it is not actually a castle exploding. It is a jump cut to an explosion.
From a postcard.
From a postcard.
Followed by some footage of what was the movie, Mark?
House of
Carl?
Usher.
The Fall of the House of Usher, the Roger Corman,
Yes.
one of Roger Corman's Edgar Allan Poe movies.
Where the house burns down, essentially.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Do you think
Spoiler
they asked
alert
for that?
the Fall of the House of Usher.
Yeah.
Sorry that I ruined that
Even
one.
though the title might be a spoiler alert.
Well, there's still one guy alive outside.
Yeah.
Somehow.
And-
even though the fireball is bigger than the entire
Oh.
frame of the shot. I don't know
Yeah.
how he survived.
And I don't know what happens here, because they're like, on the radio? Is he talking on the radio? Is somebody talking to him? He doesn't seem like he answers.
No.
There's just like he's listening to a radio.
He's giving his death rattle with not the button pressed. He's listening to somebody giving, but it turns out that means they're headed towards the airport.
Yeah, so send 3 guys and a Cherokee chief after them.
It's very reminiscent of that scene in Delta Force, which is the other third part of my in-action action trilogy, where the guy, you know, like when the Delta Force finally busts in and starts rescuing hostages and killing everything they see, and then one guy's on the radio going, "They're killing us! They're killing all of us!" You know, so I kind of, you know, I wonder at what time like Delta Force was made when they made this, and how much of it they kind of
87.
87? No, I think Hell Squad's 85.
No, Hell Squad's 86 and Megaforce is 85.
No, the Delta Force and Megaforce are 81, and Delta Force came out 6 months before Megaforce. And that's the blame of Megaforce not doing well because Delta Force was released first.
Gotcha.
Not that they were everything else.
Well, I think Hell Squad was 85.
Hell Squad is 86.
86.
So this is well after.
Yeah. So it's well after all of that. So yeah, so they totally. I felt like that was definitely some type of weird rip-off of that scene in you know Delta Force. You know, kind of like.
Well, the girls have to run and jump on the plane.
It's not going very
small
fast.
plane.
They don't drive and jump on the plane.
They run
at top speed, which is what, 10?
Yeah.
The plane is matching their speed.
Yeah.
And
the plane's going 8.
Actually, the plane would have to be going slower than that.
Yeah.
Why is the Jeep Cherokee not doing 15?
I don't
catching
know.
them.
It's hard to shoot out of them when they're going fast, I guess.
Ooh, 15.
This is a weird other world where cars drive slower than people walk. You knew that already from the chase scene at the beginning of the movie.
It's true. Yeah. Maybe the gas quality's bad.
And here's where things really just go off.
Well, they
the rails.
almost don't get Jack into the plane, or Jake.
No, the whole mission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole mission,
So,
he almost gets left behind.
He's the last one to get in the plane. They like pull him in as an afterthought.
Barely. And that's the sort of thing that's happening with the production of the movie, too, because in that previous shot, you can see the shadow of the cameraman.
Yeah.
Very
Very distinct. Like, he's in frame pretty good for quite a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very awesome, you know?
Yeah.
It's
a
preceding things to come.
yes, indeed.
I'm laughing so
Foreshadowing.
hard at this point that I'm like, I can't even hear what the actors are saying.
Yeah, we're starting to
I'm
lose
like,
track of shit at this point. But later, back at the diplomat's office, they're having a powwow and a hey, good job, you've returned my son meeting with all of the
during
showgirls.
The denouement of this film.
Yes, indeed. If you can call it that. I like to call this scene the duel of the boom mics. Because there's fucking boom mics everywhere.
The whole boom gets in there at
single
once.
shot.
Like, the whole microphone and part of the boom ends up in one of the shots. Like, boy, who's the star of this movie? Sennheiser?
I made it in the film, guys. That's me holding that mic.
Yeah. Ugh.
So Jan has some problems with the plot of the movie.
which is why Jen is my hero in this whole entire movie.
She's the only one to say, wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
What the hell was this shit all about?
Jim.
Yeah, what were we actually doing over there? Because it seems like we weren't rescuing a guy at all.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out that they weren't rescuing a guy at all. They did. That was a byproduct of their actual mission. Set up by one... Anne?
Yeah.
And?
Or Andy.
Andy?
Who gets a mask pulled off.
This is the receptionist of Mark the Diplomat.
Who also went on the mission.
The Scooby-Doo ending.
Yes,
when she
Scooby-Doo
starts
ending.
rattling off her facts that I didn't pay attention to, I was like, God, this seems like the ending of a Scooby-Doo episode. And then all of a sudden I was like, she's pulling the face off of Anne, and I'm like, holy shit, this is a Scooby-Doo ending.
It is a Scooby-Doo ending.
It's
Absolutely.
It's very mind-boggling.
It is.
And then when she tells you how she knew that Anne, they do this joke like about 20,000
Anne
fucking
or
times.
Andy.
They go Anne or Andy.
And
Anne
Andre.
or Andre. Anne or Antoine. You know?
Oh.
And, you know, you just want to punch the TV screen by the time the fifth time they make it. But when she says how she realized who was the traitor,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was sending them on these other missions that had nothing to do with rescuing Jake.
yeah.
Killing all of the people in this country.
Which apparently, and I never realized this about terrorists, but apparently there's rivalry between terrorist gangs, and Ann or Andy represents a different terrorist and saw this as like an opportunity to maybe cut down on some of the competition. So,
I don't think Ann or Andy or Fred.
yeah.
I don't think he was actually Fred. I think he was a young Dick Cheney.
Oh?
Yes, I think that's where Dick Cheney's previous job was the traitor
where-
of Hell Squad.
And where again, the wheels just coming off this thing. They even fuck up the Scooby-Doo ending because if the Scooby-Doo ending, it's always the person that, it's somebody involved. They go, who are you? I'm Fred. Oh?
Oh.
Yeah.
And then he's gone. Like, did he have anything to do with anything?
Well, how did they know that there was a spy?
Yes. How did they know there was a spy? Because he left the toilet seat up. And the music even hits that dun dun dun.
Yeah, the sting.
It's almost hard to catch that the first time you watch this movie, because at this point everything is being lost in the noise of you shouting at the screen.
He says something about no one lives forever.
Well, yeah, like the diplomat, because weirdly enough, to make the whole thing really weird, as they set up this scene, like in the scene of the dueling boom mics, when he's talking on the phone with his secretary, and his secretary even says, "Remember, we have that date later tonight."
Yeah.
And so basically he says, "How could you? I thought we were boning."
Yeah, no, Fred is an interesting character because he's in the hot tub with the girls the whole time.
No, he's
not part of the mission.
He's not.
Ann. There's two Anns?
Yeah.
There's two Anns. I think
there might be
two Anns.
There might be two Jans as well. I don't know.
Are you sure?
Yes.
No, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Absolutely.
I'm sure. Anne's not, because she's the one on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, she is giving mission.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
She's sending
Here
them.
you go.
She's sending them to kill unrelated Arabs to this whole thing.
Well, there you go. There's your movie. Credits.
Yeah.
You know as much as we do now. Questions.
I have 4, so I'll go last.
Okay.
I think 2 of them will be covered.
Why don't you start, actually?
Well, I think 2 of these will be covered.
Okay. Jackie, what do you got?
So during the commando training, right?
Mm-hmm.
The guys, or the sergeant or whatever, is talking to him, and he's got this unloaded gun. He's like, "You don't ever point an unloaded gun at anyone because it could kill him." And I'm like, how the fuck does an unloaded gun kill somebody?
I don't remember him saying that. He stops the girl because she's shooting straight up in the air.
No, this is before they get to that point.
Yeah.
Huh.
No,
I've actually heard that.
He does say that.
He does say that. So that's my question. How
Is
does
it a joke?
unloaded gun
they
kill
said
somebody?
that they say that in Hunter Safety. Because if
Well,
you
you
think it's
shouldn't.
unloaded, sometimes it's not.
It's poor phrasing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because-
but that's the exact words they use in Hunter Safety.
Should that be in a movie, though?
I don't know.
That's kinda why I think it might
I've heard
be
that a lot, but
why it might be a
a
little
lot of people have been killed
satirical.
by an unloaded gun.
Fine, great.
Yeah.
Should it be in a movie? I don't want
Well,
Jackie on
I
that
think
one.
at this point, and this is early in the movie, but at this point, the question should it be in a movie was thrown out of the window with baby in the
Yeah.
bathwater a long time ago. So,
Carl, you got any questions?
one of the questions I was kind of curious, did any of you ever feel like the tiger was frightening at all?
No.
No.
Absolutely
I
not.
kind of felt like they gave it some peanut butter to make it do that weird tongue thing.
Yeah.
Like, dude, sweet peanut butter. And that's kind of the look he had on his face, like...
Doesn't he look like he's just waiting for his mouse toy? It looks like
Yeah.
the most docile tiger ever.
He
Yeah.
is obviously a domesticated animal.
Yeah.
Obviously, but not intimidating at all.
But don't step on his tail.
Do not, because he will paw at you gently. I'm sure that domesticated tiger did not actually have any claws.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too bad. Sam?
What was Fred's endgame?
That's my question.
That's what, yeah.
What's in it for Fred?
What is in it for Fred?
I thought we covered this.
Then he's Dick Cheney. That's my best theory.
Well, my theory is that there's just this huge rivalry between these
that's right,
terrorist
yeah.
factions.
Ah.
He saw this as an opportunity to, like, you know, he wasn't on part of the whole stupid neutron bomb because he knew they would never get shit out of it.
They're not going to get shit.
So he was going to, like, you know, I'm just going to feed them bad intel and so they can wipe out this terrorist faction that, you know, is getting state support, and then maybe I can get, my terrorist faction can get state support.
Maybe.
Yep, that's what I think it was.
Maybe indeed. My question is the city at the beginning, outside the diplomat's office, with the trash people, look what this war has done to these people.
Yeah.
Are they nuked?
No, because the whole idea is he's trying to argue that a city getting nuked would be more humanitarian because it wouldn't be left in debris.
I forgot.
These
about
guys
that.
just got a conventional bombing that is much more horrific than a nuclear bomb.
Interesting.
That's right.
Yeah, that was a bad scene.
Did you guys ever see that Star Trek? It was the original series where they go to a series of planets that are at war with each other, and they fight war by playing a game that doesn't actually have any war going on. Nobody shoots anybody. There's no explosions. The cities and the towns and the worlds don't get exploded. But whoever wins the game, there's like a score, and the score says how many people died in the war. And then they get the people, and then they take them to like a zapper machine that have died in this game, and then everybody dies. So the war is actually fought, but none of the infrastructure is destroyed.
Yeah.
So it's like chess.
It's like chess, but
you
with
still
death.
kill the people. Which at that point, why not just everybody honors the result of the game and nobody dies?
Yeah. Interesting.
Yes, I did see that episode.
I do remember that. I don't remember it very well, but it sounds really familiar.
Yeah.
So.
Kirk punches a bunch of guys.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. Sam?
Okay, so this question I have an answer to. Did they realize that they weren't making that much money? The answer is yes, and here's why. When they did their dance routine and people were just fucking throwing change up there, those bitches are grabbing the change.
They did grab that.
They were after it. They were like, we have got to squeeze every penny out of this trip that we can. We're really not making very much money.
We are making half what we make at home. This was a bad idea.
Well, you know, it could be like in England where the dollar is a coin.
Well, I think that's implied,
So,
yeah.
You know,
I don't think that they were pennies.
I was thinking quarters at first, and I was like, wow, a bunch of cheap asses.
Yeah, we have
in
no
there.
idea what the currency conversion is from the US dollar to the Karjan Drachmar.
It could be
Coin.
$5.
Could be.
Who knows, but they knew they needed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did the tiger make it out of the castle?
Well, the tiger's not in the castle that gets exploded.
Yeah,
He's in the torture
right.
dungeon.
Oh, that's
If they
right.
have
So
to walk in
tiger
the desert. But what
Okay.
does happen to the tiger? Because everybody's
Yeah,
dead.
what happens to the tiger?
He has no source of food other than the corpses, but those are going to run out. Nobody's going to feed him. Nobody's going to give him
Does he
any
make
water.
it to leave the door open? And if they do, a tiger can't survive in the desert.
No, I don't think so. What is that tiger even doing in this desert?
Or right in between when they're on the freeway of that desert because there's so much fucking traffic.
Mm-hmm.
After the camels go by and they're getting into the truck, does the tiger just jump out and kill those camels?
I would like to think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
What else you got?
Do you think the guy playing Mark Stewart was the worst actor you've ever seen in a movie?
That's the diplomat, right?
Yeah.
He was quite bad.
He was quite bad.
Oh,
Quite
his
bad.
hair was his weird comb over, which wasn't a comb over. It just was like a little tiny patch of hair in the middle that he combed over.
Yeah.
But then he was bald in the front and the back, and then he had hair on the sides. That was so weird looking. It was really distracting.
One scene he has a mustache, and then suddenly he loses the
I
mustache.
didn't notice him lose the
Yeah.
mustache.
Oh, I didn't notice
Yeah,
that.
he did.
Yeah.
I'm going to say no.
Okay.
It's just too hard to beat
He was-
Wizow.
He was so bad in the beginning where he was pausing in the middle of a line.
He was real bad. But
Yeah.
nobody's worse than Tommy Wizow.
Yeah, that's true.
Then who?
Than Tommy Wizow.
This isn't a question, but an observation. I can say without a doubt that this has the worst on-screen neck break in the history
Indeed.
of me watching movies.
Awarded.
I have never seen anything so half-assed as the just push him in the cheek, break his neck.
It was pretty bad. It looked like that episode of Key and Peele with all the neck breaking.
Yes.
We got to wrap this up, guys. Recommendations?
Absolutely.
100% from me.
Oh, absolutely. You have to. This is a have-to watch.
I think it is
so
required
great.
viewing.
Required viewing.
Yeah.
Yep, indeed. It is on YouTube right now. We got to see
you didn't
it.
ask Carl what he thought.
Carl brought the movie.
Yeah, of course.
Well, maybe he thought it was craptastic, and he was like, "Suffer, you ingrates."
He has thought it's craptastic 10 times.
Yeah, well, he said he was drinking. Maybe this is the first time he's watched it sober, and he was like, "That's what you fuckers get for inviting me on your
Hell
podcast."
Squad's not very good. I don't see that happening.
He's like, "I hate you three."
I do want to ask one question,
Sure.
though, because, like, my question is, so if you needed them, who would you really want to rescue you? Delta Force, the Mega Force, or Hell Squad?
I was going to ask that question, but I tabled it because we haven't done Megaforce on the
or
show.
Delta. I think that we'll just have you on for all three of your legs.
Yeah, we should do that. We should do that.
That will be the final question.
The running thought in future episodes.
Yeah.
Who is the ultimate force
Yes.
The Ultimate Force.
of getting nothing done? That's your show. Carl, we like to have everybody that guess. Our tagline to end the show is "Get to the chopper." We want to have you give us your best "Get to the chopper."
Okay. All right. Get to the chopper!
Good. Quite good. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks, Carl. Visit us at www.stinkermadness.com. Follow Stinker Madness on Twitter at Stinker Madness. Please rate and review us on iTunes and Stitcher. Thank you for listening, and get to the chopper.